Welcome to the top 15 NA and EU players in the Overwatch League. Now let me define what top 15 NA/EU players means. It means somebody that comes from the NA or the EU region. You can be Korean, you can be Chinese, as long as you played in the North American or European region prior to the Overwatch League, then yes, that player comes from the NA or EU region. So somebody like Effect, he played in NA Contenders, he played in other North American tournaments, so he's coming from the North American region, so he's eligible to be on this list. Also, we won't be putting people on this list who are not eligible to play yet. So somebody like Super or Sinatra or Agilities, they will not be on this list because they are not eligible to play. The reason I decided to do top 15 instead of top 10 or top 20 is because I feel like top 10 is too low and top 20 is too many. So I just met in the middle and I think top 15 is the perfect number. So here we go, boys. The top 15 players from the North American and European region. And one last thing, you guys already know, and if you don't, that's why I'm saying it again. We're doing a huge giveaway, new era Overwatch hat, Overwatch League official t-shirt, extra large sized, and a signed Baby Bay and Michael Kungarna sweatshirt. Limited edition, guys. If you want to enter this giveaway, go to the Gleam link down below in the description. We're doing it big. At number 15, we have Bshoe from the LA Gladiators. I've known Bshoe ever since he got into the pro scene in Overwatch. Kungarna was actually his first team. I remember how we found Bshoe to join Kungarna. It was me and Remix. We were on Twitch checking out some players, and he found Bshoe's stream and he linked me. I was like, wait, isn't Bshoe that professional player from League of Legends? I looked him up, I confirmed it. I was like, wow, he's playing Overwatch, that's pretty cool. And he was also a really good player. He was playing Zarya at the time, and Zarya looked really good. So I reached out to him knowing that he was a pro, and I can actually go to my messages. I sent him a Discord message. I said, yo, do you plan on playing competitively in Overwatch? My team is like ranked 20 in NA. We won a tournament last week. We're going to play again tonight. We're a team full of friends who were pros in other games. We've only been playing for a few months, but we've reached top 20 on Gosu. Let me know if you are interested. Bshoe said, I'm pretty free these days. If you guys want to play a few scrims, hit me up, mate. I don't know why he said mate. I'm pretty sure this is the first and last time I ever heard Bshoe say mate. So yeah, that was the first time I ever messaged Bshoe, and he ended up becoming a long-time member of Kungarna. I really liked playing with Bshoe. He was an extremely talented player, and he was a very good teammate. He was one of the guys in Kungarna who would always try to keep everybody together. If somebody was arguing, somebody was upset, he was always trying to cheer them up. He was always trying to smooth things out and make sure everybody was happy. Bshoe was a key player in Kungarna's success over the summer. Now I want to tell you guys one last story between me, Bshoe, and Kungarna. So going back to Contender Season 0, when we were in Group D against Cloud9, we were to face them on Numbani. And it was me and Bshoe in a custom game, and we're trying to figure out things we can do to beat them. And we were willing to do anything to win, whether it was practice, play as much as possible, go over the maps, didn't matter. We wanted to win. It was about 4 in the morning. It was me and Bshoe alone in a custom game, and we're trying to come up with strategies on Numbani first point, how to take it easily. Because Numbani first point has always been really hard to take. If you don't get it on the first try, then you're probably not going to get it ever. So we wanted to come up with that perfect first try. How do we win? So, sorry for my keyboard, it might be a little bit loud. So to start out, teams would hold up here. They would have Soldier, Zen, Anna, Lucia, whatever they were running. They would play 3 squishies up here. And we wanted to come up with a plan. But then Bshoe came up with the idea. He would fly up and boop them in, and then body block. And as he did that, we would have a Genji come in, we'd have a Monkey jump up, we'd have a Tracer blink in from here, and we would just completely dive them. Now, this did end up working, and we took it on our first try. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because Bshoe brought this strategy to their Overwatch League preseason game against the London Spitfire, and they took it on their first try. And that's just a story I wanted to share with you guys, something that, we came up with together. And here, now I'll show you guys the actual clip of the LA Gladiators doing it on London Spitfire. Bshoe 100% deserves to be on this list. He's a great teammate, he's a great player, he can arguably be higher, but there's a lot of players, and I knew I had to put him on it, so there he is, number 15. Coming in at number 14, we have ShadowBurn. ShadowBurn is a great projectile player. Not only is he a really strong Genji, his Pharah is actually pretty good as well. Every time I've seen ShadowBurn play Pharah, he's always doing good. He puts up a great performance even when he plays against the best Pharahs in the entire world. I could have put ShadowBurn higher on this list, but due to his team not competing in the Overwatch League preseason, I couldn't get a good gauge on him. I know he's good. When he was on FaZe, he always put up good performances, whether it was in a live event or online. Speaking of online, throughout ShadowBurn's career, he competed online with around 180 ping from Russia. Now, it's pretty incredible that he was able to perform how he did in most of the tournaments he played in, because 180 ping, I mean, that's not easy, guys. Go connect to the Australian servers or European servers, depending where you're at, and play with 180 to 200 ping. It's really hard. It's not an easy task. So to be able to play against professional players at a high level and perform is pretty incredible. ShadowBurn also played in the World Cup twice. In 2016, he actually took home second place for Russia. And in 2017, Russia didn't do as well, but he still had a good performance. During Contenders last season, we also started to see him flex onto the Tracer, while we had Carpe on the Genji. It was actually pretty interesting to see him play on Tracer. He never played like spectacularly, but he was a solid Tracer. He did his job, and he played well. So I'm really excited to see what they'll do with his hero pool, and I'm excited to see how Philadelphia Fusion will perform, especially considering we didn't get to see them play. Coming in at number 13, we have Mumma from the Houston Outlaws. I'll be honest about Mumma. I actually like his story as a player. Mumma started his career off with 20 blank. A decent team back when Overwatch was released. They played for a couple months together, but they never really were that good, so they ended up breaking up. After that, he would then move on to GFE, Gale Force Esports, along with Boink. Competed with Gale Force Esports for around 8 months in the Tier 2 scene where they never really had much success. I mean, yeah, they won a couple weeklies here and there, but they also placed like 3rd and 4th in a lot of them. They went from playing with a not so great team to moving on to FNR GFE, where they had major success in Overwatch Contender Season 0 and Season 1. Now this is one of the reasons I have a lot of respect for Mumma. He came from the pit. He came from the bottom. He climbed his way up. He continuously grinded. He played with a core for around 8 months. Yeah, they were never the best, but they were decent, so they stuck with it. They kept practicing. And the core of Bonnie, Boink, and Mumma on Gale Force Esports ended up merging with FNR GFE. And once they did that, and they got some better teammates, they were able to really put up some good results, beating teams like Arc 6, Rogue, Immortals. I respect the grind that Mumma's been through, and I respect the work that he's put in. I appreciate the fact that he's made it all the way from the bottom to the Overwatch League. He's a great player, from his Orisa, Rhine, to Winston. He knows how to make plays on all 3 of them. He also has a really good stream. Whether he's winning or losing in ranked, he's always trying really hard. He's making calls for his teams, and he's making plays. So because of this, Mumma has made number 13 on my list. Coming in at number 12, we have Hydration from the LA Gladiators. Hydration is a sick flex player, I'll tell you guys that. He is a sick flex player. He can play almost every DPS hero, from Doomfist, Genji, Pharah. I mean, he even plays off tanks, guys. We've seen him on D.Va, we've seen him on Roadhog, we've seen him on Zarya. He's a flexible player. LA Gladiators was able to keep the number of players on their roster low, down the lower end of teams in the Overwatch League with only 7. Now, I believe the reason they did this is because of Hydration. He can play almost every single hero at a high level, whether it's Doomfist, Roadhog, D.Va, Zarya, Genji, Pharah. He can play a lot of them at a high level. He's the type of player where if you tell him to grind something, he'll just play that hero, and in a week or 2 weeks, he'll be extremely good at it. We actually saw against London Spitfire, they were running triple DPS comps, and they were running triple tank comps, and they had Hydration playing pretty much everything. It was honestly a sight to see. He even has a Doomfist only account that is top 20 in NA. And for a hero that's not really meta right now, and him being able to do that, it's pretty incredible. And he just isn't able to flex on these heroes. I mean, he pops off on them. And personally, I think his best heroes would be Roadhog and Pharah. I remember back in the summer playing against CLG and going up against his Roadhog. I mean, holy crap, dude. It was like playing against Time War and Roadhog. This guy hit every single hook on me. He'd always position himself in the right spot where he could catch me off guard as Tracer, and I had no idea a hook was coming. This guy's Pharah is so good. We've seen a little of it in the preseason on the control map, but his Pharah is good. I mean, he'll hit direct after direct after direct. I think Hydration is going to be a big player in the Overwatch League, and we're going to need to be keeping an eye on him. Coming at number 11, we have Chipshaven. Let me tell you guys why he wasn't in my top 20 originally. Now, I didn't feel his performance in the preseason was worthy of top 20. Yes, he has a great history. He's done so much in the Overwatch scene. He's performed well for Envious for so long. Yes, I understand why you guys would think he should have been up there. I was just looking at his preseason, and I was like, well, there's players like CoolMatt who performed extremely well in the preseason. I mean, really well. And I just looked at him. Well, CoolMatt has had a lot of success in the scene as well, and so has Chips. Which one had a better preseason? Well, CoolMatt did. So that was the reason I put players like CoolMatt above Chips. He was always a close player. If I was doing a top 25 list, Chips, 99% probably would have made it. I said this in my last video. It's really hard to gauge the players from Envious because they work so well together. They play together and they're in sync always. Prior to Effect joining, I said this before. Envious was kind of, to me, always known as a team that was really good at working together. They never really had like insane mechanical players. Despite Taimu's aim, it was just a lot of teamwork, a lot of working together, a lot of team understanding and knowing how to play the game and being in the right positions at the right times for each other. And I think Chips was a key role in this. He was always keeping his tanks healed. I mean, when I played these guys in scrims and tournaments, their tanks would never take damage. Like, I remember literally dropping a bomb on like Coco's Monkey or Reinhardt and him getting bursted down to about 50 HP instantly, and this guy would literally, he would be full in a second. Like, Chips would heal the crap out of him on Ana. He would instantly be full. And I was like, wow, this guy is insane at healing. He seemed like he knew some trick on Ana where you could just get bullets out faster, because he would heal so quick. It was almost impossible to play against him. I wouldn't compare his aim to somebody like Unko, but he really understands the game. He knows what he needs to do in almost every scenario. And for this reason, Chips is number 11 on my list. Coming in at number 10, we have LinkSir. Again, LinkSir was another player that a lot of people were surprised that wasn't on my last list. The reason I put Jake higher instead of him is because I'm looking at overall aspect of a player. I'm not just focusing in on how many players can he kill, how good is his aim, but I'm focusing on how much does he do, how effective overall is he for his team. And for LinkSir, yes, he's insane at fragging. He's got sick aim. I've heard he's one of the best Widowmakers in the league, and he's also extremely flexible, which is why I'm putting him at number 10. He's a great player. Now, I'll be honest, I never really paid much attention to LinkSir. I knew he played for like Dignitas back in the day, but Dignitas is never really good in Europe, so I just kind of brushed him off like, cool. People say he's good, but I've never really personally seen him play until Contender Season 1. When I started watching his matches from Europe against teams like Misfits and United, LinkSir was absolutely tearing it up, getting kills left and right. It just seemed like it was the LinkSir frag fest. I knew Giganti was really good, but I never expected him to go on and win the season. Now, I think that had to do a lot with LinkSir's gameplay. This guy was popping off. I mean, I already said it. He was killing everybody in Contender Season 1. The guy was an absolute animal, and there's absolutely no questions why he made it onto the Houston Outlaws roster. Yes, he could be higher on this list. LinkSir is an insane player, but I have reasons for putting the players above him, and that will leave him at number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have IRemix. Yes, I put Bshoe on this list. Now I'm putting IRemix, my former teammate from Kingarna. Man, I've gone through a lot with Remix, man. Remix, man. I could talk about Remix all day. I have so many personal memories with him. I've lived with him. I've been through it all with Remix. Almost my entire Overwatch career I spent playing with him. He's a great player. He was a good teammate, and I really enjoyed hanging out with him. And my God, has he improved so much at this game. Starting off, when he first joined Kingarna, because he's Puerto Rican and English isn't his first language, I think he struggled early on communication-wise. He was able to process information in-game, but he wasn't able to translate it to English and say it right away to his team. Now, starting out and playing video games with a bunch of English speakers who are just screaming random stuff can be very hectic. And I think by the end of Kingarna, Remix was one of the most vocal players on the team. From calling to what he was doing and what he needed from us, he was always vocal, and he had a high understanding of the game. I mean, he was just always improving now that I think about it. Like, from where he started to where he is now, he is insane. I mean, he grinded, man. He climbed. Truly, honestly, Remix, if you would have asked me would he be in the Overwatch League when we first found him, I would have said, I don't know, man. I don't know. And then if you would have asked me, is Remix going to be in the Overwatch League at the end of Kingarna, I would have said, of course he's going to be in the Overwatch League. He's one of the best tanks in North America, if not the best. Remix and me fit really well together. We were both really hype players, and in the moment, we were always bringing the heat. If we wanted to win something, we were ready to put our all into it. And I will tell you this, we would win. From the ARC 6 rival games to the C9 rival games, when me and Remix were focused and knew we had to win no matter what, we would pull it out every single time. Remix is just straight up a beast. From his mentality, to his communication, to his gameplay, his monkey, his Reinhardt, it's all good, man. And I honestly, truly enjoyed competing with Remix. I wish I could have continued competing with him because he's a great guy, he's a great player, and I expect him to do big things in the Overwatch League for the LA Gladiators. I just have so many memories with someone like Remix and Bshoe and Baby. I can talk for days about our stories and things we did, our preparation for matches, communication inside the team. Let me know if you guys want more stuff coming from like Kongarna, where I have like a lot of experience, where I can really bring a lot of things to you guys. He's number 9 on the list. He deserves it, and I expect big things like I said. Number 8, we have CoolMatt. Now, CoolMatt's the first player from my top 20 Overwatch League players. Now, some people questioned it, some people agreed with me, but man, if you just watched his gameplay from the preseason, he was doing so much for the Houston Outlaws. I mean, they came so close to beating Seoul Dynasty. They came so close to beating the Dallas Fuel. And let's be honest, everybody knows the Dallas Fuel and Seoul Dynasty are going to be 2 of the best teams in the league. And these guys nearly beat both of them. And on top of that, CoolMatt was performing his butt off. I mean, he was doing so much. He was everywhere, dude. Now, as a D.Va player, there's so many things you can do in a game. You can spend your time protecting your Zenyatta and your Lucio and like your soldier. You can spend your time counter-diving the monkey, waiting for him to jump in, then blowing him up. Or you can dive and try to kill the other team's backline. And it's really hard to figure out what you need to do. And what was so unique about CoolMatt's gameplay in the preseason, he was doing a little bit of everything, and he was just so effective. Like, we would see him in the backline protecting his team, and then the next second, he'd be in the enemy team's backline killing the Widow. He was all over the place, and he was doing what many divas can't do, which is balance multiple gameplays at the same time while still being extremely effective. So let's look at that Dorada match that they played against Dallas Fuel. If I were to rate his effectiveness out of 100, honestly, I'd say like he was 95% effective. He spent 95% of his time doing something that was important for his team or helped his team win. And when you think at Overwatch in general, having a 95% effective rate, that sounds absurd. That sounds really hard to achieve. You have to be consistently doing things that are helping your team win. There's so many times in pro games where there's just a player who's not effective for like 30-40% of the game. That's just like a normal game. You can't be effective for 90% of the game. It only makes sense to be effective for about 60% of it. So when I saw CoolMatt playing, I was like, damn, this guy's just doing so much. And because of that, he is number 8 on my list. Number 7, we have Carpe. Now again, like I mentioned with ShadowBurn, it was really hard to put him on these lists because I didn't get to see him play in the preseason, but nobody can deny how good Carpe is. I mentioned his past in my other video, and he's just got an incredible feat. From joining BK Stars and absolutely carrying them, to joining FaZe and absolutely carrying them. His Genji, McCree, Tracer, all really good, really flexible. And like I said earlier when I was talking about ShadowBurn, and I said he was on Tracer and Carpe was on Genji, I mean, it was surprising to see considering how good Carpe is at Tracer and how good ShadowBurn is at Genji. But they swapped, and it was like ShadowBurn was still on Genji, but it was Carpe, and he might have even been fragging harder than ShadowBurn would have on Genji. Carpe is definitely one of the best players coming from the NA region, and I really wish we would have been able to see him in the preseason, because we all could have gotten a better gauge on how good Philadelphia Fusion is, or how good he is, but unfortunately we weren't able to. So all we can go off is his past, and like I said, his past is really good. I'm not too sure how good his communication is, seeing as he's in an English-speaking team and he's from Korea, setting up dives with their monkeys and divas, which I'm sure he does and I'm sure he's improving on. And that's just some knowledge I actually don't have about Carpe, so I would love to know how his communication is. If I knew he had some insane communication, then I might even put him higher on this list. But without knowing, we're going to keep him at number 7. Number 6, Soon, from the LA Valiant. Now, a lot of people were upset I didn't put him in the top 20. And I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised I didn't either. Soon is probably a top 20 player in the Overwatch League. If not, he's literally ranked 21 or 22. My reasoning at the time for not putting him in the top 20 was he didn't have that insane of a performance in the preseason. I think he got overshadowed a lot by Silkthread, who is also a really good player, and I probably would have put Silkthread on this list if he had more of a history prior to the Overwatch League. Silkthread showed up in the Overwatch League, but enough about him. Let's get back to Soon. So the reason I didn't put him in the top 20, again, he didn't perform that well in the preseason. It was okay. He didn't play bad. He wasn't an outstanding player that you'd expect him to be. He didn't perform like Effect on the Tracer or like Birdring or any of the other really good Tracers in the league. I expected more out of him. He's also a pretty inconsistent player. I mean, when Soon is on, he is freaking on. I mean, he can kill everybody. He can be the best player in the entire game when he is on. He also has these lows in some matches where he's just really ineffective. Putting up only average numbers on the Tracer as Rogue lost a lot was surprising to see. And again, I've seen a little of that in the preseason. I expected him to do more, and he ended up just doing, his job, what he needed to do. Nothing spectacular, nothing crazy that we would expect from Soon. And the last reason I didn't put him as high is because of his hero pool. Yeah, Soon is great at Tracer. Yes, he is. He's really good at Tracer. But I never really seen him play any other heroes at a high level. Maybe a little of McCree, but I mean, that's like a small sample size, and it wasn't that impressive. We seen a bit of his Widow in the preseason as well, and it wasn't that great either. He got outpicked by Babybay a lot in that series, and then against Surefour he didn't do that well either on the Widow. So because of those reasons, I didn't put him in my top 20 list. But yes, again, we all know Soon is really good. He's done some insane things on Tracer. He put Rogue on his back in so many matches, and that is why I'm putting him high on this list. At number 5, we have Taimu, the aim god. Another player some people were upset with. Why is Babybay higher than Taimu? Why is Taimu ranked 17? He should be higher. Why is Jake above him? Well, I think Taimu's a good player. It's a hard one. When you look at players like Taimu, Jake, and Babybay, they all have really good aim. And if I would rank them in order of who has best aim, Taimu probably would be the best. But I think the effectiveness overall that players like Jake and Babybay bring to their team is just way higher than Taimu's. Which, yeah, Taimu is one of the best players of all time. He has a really, really good track record. He has consistently popped off in live LAN events, but I feel as of recently, he's kind of taken a step back, and Effects kind of really became the star player of that team, and Taimu's kind of just there. And in the preseason, his performance wasn't that great. For someone who's supposed to be the best Widow in the world, he was kind of getting outplayed a lot on the Widowmaker, even by players like Logic or Tavik, who just didn't have good performances at all. And for the Houston Outlaws, LinkSir really just outshined Taimu throughout that whole entire series, which was pretty surprising to a lot of us. We expected him to be that, best Widowmaker in the game. But I feel like the reason we thought Taimu was so good at Widowmaker and the best one in the world is because all the other players that were really insane at aiming, they spent all their time on Tracer and all their time on Soldier and McCree. Nobody really went out and played Widow that much. And now that Widowmaker is in the meta, we see those players who have insane aim, those hit scan players, grinding it. And we really get to see now who the best Widow in the game is. It's the same situation kind of with Soon. Soon was always known as the best Tracer in the world. And then when Tracer became like super meta and every team had a player on her 24/7, like Effect on her or Bird Ring, we really got to see, oh wow, Soon actually isn't the best Tracer in the world. Yeah, he's one of the best, but there's also these other really good Tracer players. Now that they've had time to grind that hero, people have caught up to where Taimu is on Widow and Soon is on Tracer. And it seems like a lot of these players might be surpassing them. And because of this, I didn't put him in like the top 5 or top 10 like a lot of people would expect me to. Yes, I still put him 17. He's still number 5 on this list, guys. Taimu's a great player, and he brings a lot to Envious, and he can easily move up with a crazy performance in the regular season. And like I said in my last video, I know he's going to show up for the playoffs. So when playoff time comes, then I'll do my rankings again, and we'll see how much Taimu moves up. But until then, he's going to stay at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Jake from the Houston Outlaws. Now, I mentioned this briefly earlier when I was talking about LinkSir. People were asking me, why did you put Jake so much higher than LinkSir? Why isn't LinkSir in your top 20 but Jake is? Because, again, guys, I'm looking at the game. I'm looking at these players overall. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at their leadership, their communication, their aim, their fragability, their positioning, flexibility, everything. I'm putting everything into factor as an overall player. And I believe Jake is one of the best overall players in the game. He has the leadership skills in and outside the game. Inside the game, he can flex to almost every single DPS hero, even off tanks, and he can perform hard. He can make the calls that his team needs at the right time, and he never shies away from a challenge. I think Jake is one of the most prepared players for the Overwatch League. When I say that, what I mean is, I think he has one of the best understandings of the position he is being put in. I think he's going to capitalize off this opportunity of being in the Overwatch League, and he's going to get the most out of it. As for some players who are just there, who are young, naive, and might not understand the opportunity they have, and that they need to perform, and that they need to show up big time, I think Jake really understands the severity of the situation. He understands that this is a huge opportunity, and if he capitalizes off of it, he could be set for life. Jake just seems like a really smart individual, and he knows what he's doing. So for this reason, he is number 4 on my list. Coming in at number 3, we have Unko. Now people keep saying, Michael, Why do you keep riding Unko so much? Why do you think he's so good? Come on, he can't be that good. Guys, he's that good. This guy is insane. I mean, you can sit here and say, Michael, you weren't that good of a tracer. I mean, I was a pretty good tracer at a time, guys, and I competed against Unko a lot. This guy's Zenyatta and Ana is freaking absurd. This guy does not miss shots. He keeps his tanks healed 24/7. His Discord orb management is perfect. And as a tracer, trying to go against him in a 1v1 is just, you can't. You don't challenge Unko in a 1v1. Unless you can come up from an angle and sneak up on him and one-clip him, you can't kill him. Because if he knows you're coming or has a slight clue you're coming, he's going to force your recall out instantly. He's going to force you back. You're not going to be able to kill him. A lot of the players in the scene praise Unko for his play, and I believe come mid-season and playoff time, he's going to be known as one of the best Zenyatas in the entire world, if not the best. Better than the Koreans, the best in general. I look at Unko, and I compare him to like Ryu Jahong from Korea. Unko is simply the Western Ryu Jahong. He's insane. His mechanics are absurd. His position is insane. When he's in the clutch, he pops off. And for all these reasons, Unko's number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have Bshoe. Now, of course, Bshoe, another player, people are like, oh, why are you riding him so hard? He's not that good. He can't be that good. He's good, dude. Bshoe is good. Man, this guy, he played in Congrana with me. I've talked about him. You guys have seen my interviews with him. I have a lot of experience with him. If there's anybody in this game that I have knowledge about, the most knowledge I have is about Bshoe. I understand him as a player. I know what he's capable of. I know how hard he works. I know how driven he is. His experience is incredible. I look at him like I look at Jake. I think he's very, very prepared for this moment, and I think he's going to seize the opportunity. We got to see in the preseason, a lot of people were surprised. They're like, oh, wow, Bshoe is actually really good on this stage. I didn't expect him to be that good, a lot of people said. Well, I did, and he's going to do even better. He had a great performance in the preseason, and I believe he's going to help San Francisco be one of the best teams in the league. Now, I'm not saying San Francisco is going to go out there and win the entire thing. I believe he can take San Francisco from being a middle-bottom team, around like top 8, to possibly a top 4 team in the world. He brings so much to the game. His communication, his leadership abilities, his aim, his positioning, his flexibility. He's got it all. If you look at a player and you think of what you need from them, he literally check marks every single one of them. He knows how to perform under pressure. He can play all these heroes. I mean, I could just go on and on about what he can do. I'm just going to stop here, and I'm going to let him show you. Pay attention to Bshoe during the regular season and the playoffs, and you'll see. Coming in at number 1, Effect. Effect, simply put, is a monster. We saw in the preseason, he was performing like an animal. Dallas had their backs against the wall against the Houston Outlaws, and he was there. He was still fragging. He was still killing. He was popping off. I think without Effect, Dallas would not nearly be as good as they are. I can honestly even see Dallas missing the playoffs if Effect wasn't on their roster. He is that important and that crucial of a player for them. Because of him, I think they go from a top 8 team to a top 3 team. I think the reason why Effect is so good is because of his decision making. Now, when you look at decision making as a tracer, it's like, where can I blink? Who can I blink on? Can I one-clip this guy? Should I go bomb this guy? Should I go here? Should I do this? Tracer is a really fast hero to play, so you have to make these decisions extremely quickly. You have to make these decisions really quick. You don't have much time to think. And I think in these moments, Effect is able to choose the right decision almost 99% of the time. Whether this is just because he's so mechanically good and make any bad decision look like a good one, I'm not sure. Maybe he's mechanically that good. Who knows? He could be. But I think it's more than that. I think the way he processes information and makes his decisions is just on a whole nother level. He could easily be the best tracer in the entire world. Although there's players like Birdring out there and Prophet, who I personally think will be better, he's definitely not far behind. And I definitely think he was the best player to ever play in the North American region, specifically like contenders where he just completely destroy teams. I mean, pick them apart. Look at FaZe. FaZe, the ranked 2 NA team in the world. They have Carpe on Tracer. But it wasn't even a match. It wasn't even close. Why? Well, yes, Envious's teamwork is on point. But Effect, my god, the way he just would kill everybody and move around the map is incredible. The guy is absolutely the best player from the North American region, hands down. And I think the gap from him and everybody else is pretty big. We expect a lot coming from Effect, and he will obviously show up in the regular season. And come playoff time, we'll see where he takes Dallas Fuel. And that's it, guys. That's my top 15 players from the North American and European region in the Overwatch League. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And one last thing, be sure to check that giveaway, boys. I know I keep mentioning it, but it's huge. I want everybody to get in on it. See you guys later. Thanks for watching.